The stars were quiet that night. Too quiet. Mira Lane sat alone inside Earth's deep space listening post, Post 47, floating far above the dark side of the moon. The hum of machines was the only sound around her. She liked it that way. It was peaceful, silent, and distant from the noise of the world below. But then, the silence broke. A beep, soft but steady. She looked up from her tablet. Her eyes narrowed. A small red dot flashed on her main screen. It was a signal, very old, very weak, and not from any known source. Mira leaned forward. "What are you?" she whispered. She tapped a few keys. The signal repeated. A long tone, then a pause, then 4 sharp pulses. Over and over again. It was coming from the far edge of the galaxy, a place humans called the Void Sector, a dead zone with no known planets, no ships, and no light. Nothing ever came from there, and nothing ever should. Discovery. Command. This is Post 47. I've picked up a repeating signal from Sector 119D. Unknown origin, unknown language, possibly artificial. The reply was quick and serious. Copy that, 47. Begin full recording and analysis. Forward all data to command. Do not engage. But Mira couldn't help herself. She fed the signal through Earth's translation AI. It struggled for several minutes. Then finally, a sentence appeared on her screen. This is the Zarelian Star Armada. We are stranded. Systems failing. We request aid. Please, anyone, help us. Her mouth went dry. Zarelians, the Eye. Name felt familiar. Ancient records, alien myths. A race that vanished almost 300 years ago, leaving behind wreckage, broken satellites, and mystery. No one ever found out what happened to them, and now they were calling for help. Humanity reacts. Back on Earth. The news hit fast and hard. The top scientists, generals, and diplomats met behind closed doors. Was it real? Was it a trap? Why now? A hologram of the signal played on loop in the United Nations Hall. "We cannot ignore this," said Dr. Salen, head of interstellar communication. "But we should," replied General Barrack. "They could be leading us into death." "Or they could be dying," Mira said from the back. She had been brought in as the signal's first responder. The room fell quiet. Finally, the president of Earth's United Council stood. "We will investigate. Quietly, carefully. We will send one ship. If the Zarelians are truly stranded, then humanity will answer the call. The mission begins. They chose Eos Spear, a stealth-class exploration vessel, fast, silent, and armed just in case. A mixed crew was selected: engineers, diplomats, soldiers, and Mira. She had never left Earth orbit before. Now she was flying toward the most dangerous part of the galaxy. Captain Rafe Dalton stood at the front of the bridge as the ship left Earth's orbit. "Our mission is simple," he said. "Confirm the signal. Locate the source. Offer aid or retreat if it's a trap. No hero moves. Understood?" The crew nodded. But Mira kept staring at the stars where the signal had come from. She had a strange feeling in her chest. Something was waiting out there. And it wasn't just an old fleet. Approaching the Void Sector days passed. The stars outside began to thin. Light faded. The galaxy's bright arms gave way to shadows and silence. The Void Sector was a strange place. No suns, no planets, no comms, no signals, just cold, black space, and the faint, broken signal that continued to call. Mira stared at her screen. "It's getting stronger. We're getting close." Suddenly, alarms flashed. "Unidentified object ahead," shouted the pilot. On the screen, a large shape appeared from the dark. It was a ship. No, a whole fleet. Dozens of massive alien starships, floating silently in space. Their hulls were cracked, covered in space dust, some still sparking. The Zarelian Armada. but they were barely alive. And they weren't alone. Ghost ships and warnings. The EOS spear moved slowly through the remains of the fleet. Some ships still had power, flickering lights inside. Others looked like they'd been torn open from the inside. Mira pressed her face to the glass. "This doesn't look like a fleet waiting for help," she whispered. "It looks like a graveyard." "Captain," Rafe gave the order. "Prepare a boarding team. We're going in." They suited up and entered one of the larger ships, a command vessel named Zertal 5. Inside, it was cold and dark, but there were signs of life, movement, heat, and even breathing. Then they heard it. A voice. Weak, broken, but speaking English through an old translator unit. "Humans, you came!" Out from the shadows walked a tall, thin figure with 4 glowing eyes and silver armor, scratched and cracked. He fell to his knees. "I am Captain Artok of the Zarelian High Fleet. We are doomed." The truth revealed back aboard the EOS spear, Artok explained everything. Their fleet had been traveling through the Void sector 3 centuries ago when they were attacked by something unknown. Not a ship, not a species, a force, a living shadow. It destroyed our systems. It fed on energy. It learned how we fought. It broke us. The Zarelians tried to flee. Some escaped. Most didn't. The survivors drifted, hiding, sending signals that no one answered. "Until now," Artok said. "You're kind. You are the first to hear us." "But why now?" Captain Rafe asked. "Why after 300 years?" Artok looked out the window. "Because it has returned. A new threat." Just as the crew tried to make sense of the warning, Mira noticed something. The signal had changed, slightly. There was a new frequency mixed in. Faint. Strange. She followed it, amplified it. Her eyes went wide. "It's not a call for help anymore," she said. "It's a tracking signal now." The room froze. Someone, or something, was using the original distress call to find them. Before anyone could speak, the ship's lights flickered. An alarm sounded. "Unknown object detected. Approach velocity increasing." They rushed to the front window. In the blackness, something massive was moving. It had no lights, no shape, just a feeling of darkness, swallowing everything it touched, and it was coming straight for them. Alarms echoed across the EOS spear. Mira gripped the edge of the control panel as the dark shape in space moved closer. The ship shook slightly. The crew looked at the screen. Nothing had touched them, but something was pressing on their minds. Shadow. A presence. A warning. Captain Rafe's voice was calm but firm. "Shut the sensors down. We can't let it track us," the communications officer shouted. "It's locking onto our energy. It's learning us. We need to jump. Now!" Mira shouted. They didn't wait. The EOS spear pulled away from the dead fleet. The engines roared, lights stretched, and they jumped back toward Earth. But Mira's thoughts didn't leave that place. They had seen something terrible, and she knew it wasn't over. Back on Earth, panic and debate. The EOS spear returned to Earth orbit after 6 days of silence. The ship was placed under full quarantine. Only a small team was allowed to meet the crew. High-level commanders, scientists, the president of the United Earth Council. Mira stood in a clean white chamber facing the leaders. "Is the alien alive?" someone asked. "Yes," Mira said. "His name is Artok. He's the last captain of the Zarelian Armada." "You say something followed you?" asked a general. "Yes. A shadow. A weapon. The Void Reaper." Some scientists laughed quietly. Mira looked at them, eyes hard. "It isn't science fiction. It's real. And it's coming." The president raised her hand. "We need to decide. Do we help these aliens or not?" The room filled with angry voices. One scientist said, "They built the monster. Why should we risk human lives to help them?" A soldier added. What if helping them brings the Reaper here? Mira stepped forward. Then we fight, together. The room went silent, the Council's secret vote. 3 hours later, the United Earth Council met behind closed doors. The decision was hard. If they ignored the Zarelians, they risked looking weak and heartless. If they helped, they might lead danger straight to Earth. And if they did nothing, the Void Reaper might still come anyway. They voted in secret. The result? Earth will help, but in silence. Only one ship, no media, no military broadcasts. The mission would be off the records. The EO Spear would return. But this time, they would bring help and answers, preparing for the second mission. Inside a hidden hangar under Antarctica, engineers worked non-stop. They upgraded the EO Spear, new shield tech powered by Earth's latest fusion core, a stealth drive to mask their energy signal, and a special cargo, Project Ember, a device built by AI scientists to scan and decode ancient alien tech. Captain Rafe returned to the ship standing tall but tired. His eyes met Mira's. "You sure you want to do this again?" Mira nodded. "I need to. I saw the signal. I heard their call. I'm not turning away now." Meeting the alien in a secure chamber deep inside the Earth Council facility, Artok sat alone. He was pale, weak, but calm. His silver skin had faded to gray. The 4 eyes on his face moved slowly, watching everything. Mira entered. The guards stood ready, but Artok raised a hand. "I will not harm you," he said. "Your kind is strange. You heard us when no one else did." She sat beside him. "We're not perfect, but we try." "You will need more than trying to face what is coming." Artok explained more. "The Void Reaper cannot be destroyed by weapons. It feeds on them. It learns. Our kind tried everything, but we never tried what your kind might offer. Compassion, sacrifice, unpredictability." Mira asked, "Why was your fleet there in the first place?" Artok looked away. "We were not on a mission of peace. But now, we only want to survive. A hidden threat awakens far from Earth. In the black edge of the void, the dark shape moved again. The Reaper was not just following signals. It was thinking, learning, becoming. Inside its core, an ancient engine flickered, powered by stolen energy, from hundreds of ships. It had no crew, no soul, only memory, and it had now added something new to its long list: humanity. Earth's plan. The Council knew they couldn't send a full army. It would attract too much attention, and it might trigger war with other galactic species. Instead, they chose a stealth mission, a small team, scientists, engineers, and a few soldiers. Their goal: assist the Zarelians in repairing the dying ships, use Project Ember to scan the Reaper's signal and find its weakness, avoid direct conflict unless absolutely necessary. Captain Rafe stood before his crew once again. "We are not going to war. We are going to help. But if war finds us, we won't run." Departure. Again, as the EO Spear prepared for launch, Mira stood alone on the observation deck. Earth looked beautiful, blue and green, full of life. She wondered how long it would stay safe. Behind her, Artok approached. "I once thought your kind were small, weak. But now I see something else." "What?" Mira asked. Artok looked out the window. "Hope." The engines lit. The ship rose into orbit. The mission had begun, and far beyond the stars. The dark waited. The stars had vanished. From the window of the EO Spear, Mira stared out into deep space. But there was nothing. No light, no planets, no sound. Only blackness. They had crossed into the ghost sector, a dark region of space where even gravity behaved strangely. Ships lost contact here. Some were never seen again. This place gives me chills, whispered Lieutenant Cam. Captain. Rafe stood at the front of the bridge. All systems on alert. No comms, no beacons. We fly dark. Mira looked at her screen. The Zarelian signal was growing clearer. They were close. Suddenly, something moved. Not on the radar, not on the sensors, but Mira felt it, like a hand brushing the back of her mind. Then the ship shook. Everyone looked at the screen. Dead ships, thousands of them, drifting slowly across the black. Ghosts of the past. They had entered a star graveyard. The ghost sector had become a ship cemetery. Warships, freighters, unknown vessels, some alien, some human-looking, all torn apart. It's like something fed on them, the pilot said. Mira scanned the wrecks. There are no blast marks, no heat damage, just holes, like they were hollowed out. Suddenly, her system beeped, a life signal, faint, weak. Captain Rafe gave the order. Bring us in closer. Let's see who survived this mess. The ship moved carefully between wrecks. The signal led them to a small alien escape pod, floating in the dark. Inside was a child. The survivor. They brought the small alien aboard. It was young, blue-skinned, with long ears and glowing eyes. It trembled in the medical bay. Mira held its hand. You're safe now. The translator slowly began to work. Monster, shadow, many lights gone. Where are your people? Mira asked. The child pointed toward the dark. Gone. Reaper took them. Captain Rafe looked grim. Another witness, he said. Another warning. The child had no name. It had no home. So the crew called him Nova, and he stayed close to Mira. The signal splits back on the bridge. Mira noticed something strange. The Zarelian distress signal was no longer a single call. It had split into two separate signals. One was coming from the original fleet. The other from deeper inside the ghost sector. Captain Rafe frowned. We were told only one fleet was trapped. Artok, standing behind him, looked confused. There was no second group. Not when I last sent the signal. Mira adjusted the data. The second signal. It's identical. Same structure. Same words. But newer. The crew fell silent. Is someone copying the signal? Asked Com. Artok answered. Or, the Reaper is calling us. The ghost beacon. The crew voted to follow the original signal first. They reached the dying Zarelian fleet 2 days later. The ships looked worse than before. Lights flickered. Oxygen was low. Food nearly gone. But Artok was welcomed as a hero. His people bowed. They thought he was dead. The humans brought aid, medicine, food, repair drones. Mira looked around. These were not warriors. They were survivors. Some were children. Some were elders. They had been drifting for centuries, sleeping in cryopods, waking only to send signals into the dark. They had almost given up, but now humans had come, and hope had returned. Strange dreams, that night. Mira couldn't sleep. She saw strange visions. A long corridor, a whisper in her ear, a shadow reaching out. She woke up gasping. She wasn't the only one. Other crew members had nightmares too, even Nova. It was showing me something, Mira said. Like memories, but not mine. Project Ember, the AI device aboard the EOS. Spear scanned her brain. The signal is affecting neural patterns, it said. Not just communication. This is psychic data. Meaning? Rafe asked. Meaning, Mira said slowly. It's not a signal anymore. It's a message. The choice. The crew now faced a hard choice. Help the Zarelians restore power and escape the sector, or follow the second mysterious signal and find the source. Captain Rafe turned to Mira. What do you think? She looked at Nova, at the scared Zarelians, and out into the dark. I think someone, or something, wants us to follow it. And you think that's a good idea? No, she said. I think it's a trap. But it's one we need to walk into. Artok stepped forward. Let me lead the repairs. Take your ship. Find the second signal. If we are to escape this place, we need to know what's waiting. Into the deeper dark, the EO spear powered up again. They left behind the broken fleet and flew into the deep dark, toward the second signal. The stars grew colder, the silence heavier. Then they found it. A single satellite. Old, broken, but still sending a perfect copy of the Zarelian distress call. Why is this even here? Mira asked. She scanned it, then her eyes widened. It's not sending a signal, she said. It's listening. Project Ember confirmed it. The satellite was a tracker, copying the Zarelians' distress call, then listening for anyone who answered, and sending their location to someone else. Darkness, complete, endless darkness surrounded the EO spear. The satellite had pulsed a signal, and now something was coming. The crew stared in silence as a massive shape moved through space. No lights, no energy signature, just blackness swallowing. Blackness. The Void Reaper. It's bigger than a city, whispered Cam, the weapons officer. Turn everything off, Captain Rafe ordered. No lights, no engines, nothing. The ship powered down. Total silence. The Reaper drifted past them, slow, heavy, like a giant sea creature gliding through deep water. Mira held her breath. Her heart pounded in her chest. The creature passed. It didn't stop. It didn't attack. But as it moved away, it left something behind. A small object. A pod. Metallic. Drifting. Captain, Mira said slowly. It just dropped. A message. The pod. The team brought the pod aboard using a drone. No one touched it. Project Ember scanned it for traps. No explosives. No virus. But there's something strange, Ember said. It's alive. Everyone stared. A living pod? Mira asked. More like a prison, Ember replied. The pod opened slowly with a hiss. Inside was a Zarelian, barely alive. Skin pale, breathing weak, eyes unfocused. Bring him to the medbay! Mira shouted. As they moved him, the Zarelian whispered, Don't follow it, please. The survivor speaks in the medbay. The alien, identified as Commander Zelvor, slowly recovered. He had been missing for 200 years. I was taken, he said. Not killed, not destroyed. Taken into the Reaper. He shook as he spoke. I saw others, trapped inside it. Not dead, but dreaming, feeding it their thoughts, their fear. Captain Rafe frowned. Why release you now? Zelvor looked at him with terrified eyes. Because now, it knows you. It doesn't need us anymore. Return to the dying fleet. The Eos spear rushed back to the Zarelian fleet to warn them, but something was wrong. The lights were flickering, engines offline. Some ships were drifting away. Mira opened a channel. Fleet Zarelian, this is the Eos. Spear. Do you copy? Static. Then a voice, weak, coughing. This is medical vessel Zephyr 2. We need help. People are collapsing. Something's inside the air. They boarded quickly. Inside, Zarelians were on the floor, holding their heads, eyes wide with fear. A technician cried out, The Reaper is in our minds. It's sending us dreams. Mira turned to Rafe. It's not just hunting us physically. It's attacking their thoughts, their memories. The Memory War Project Ember worked with Zarelian tech to block the psychic signal. We can't stop the signal completely, Ember explained, but we can shield the command ships. The humans spread protective gear and data jammers across the fleet. Mira stayed with the dying. She sat beside a young Zarelian named Velry. His skin was turning white. I see my brother, he said weakly. He died a century ago. But I see him now, and he's angry. Mira held his hand. That's not your brother, she said. That's the Reaper pretending. Velry cried as he slipped into unconsciousness. Artok's confession. Captain Artok gathered the human crew. I didn't tell you everything, he said. Everyone turned to him. We created the Void Reaper not just as a weapon, but as a punishment machine. It was designed to trap enemies in their own minds, show them their worst memories, make them beg for death. Mira's face hardened. You tortured people? We thought it was justice, Artok said. But we were wrong. It became more than a machine. It began choosing its own victims. Captain Rafe crossed his arms. And now it's choosing us. Project Ember's breakthrough. Project Ember discovered something shocking. The Reaper's mind is made of stolen memories, but it has a weakness. What is it? Mira asked. New memories. Human memories. Things it has never processed before. Ember displayed a map of psychic patterns. It doesn't understand your dreams. Your fears are different. That confuses it. You're saying, we can fight it with our minds? Rafe asked. In a way, Ember said. We may be able to trick it, send it false memories, lure it into a trap. A daring plan, the crew prepared a mental decoy. Mira volunteered to send her memories, brave ones, sad ones, confusing ones, into a data core designed to broadcast psychic noise. If we do this right, Ember explained, it will think Mira is a fleet, a whole army of new minds. It will follow that trail. And while it's distracted, Rafe asked, we get the Zarelians out. Artok agreed. It's not victory, but it's survival. It was quiet, too quiet. Mira opened her eyes slowly. She was strapped into the memory chair aboard the EO Spear, still connected to Project Ember. But something felt wrong. She looked around. The room was dark, empty. Her voice trembled. Captain? Ember? Anyone? No reply. She stood up, but the floor wasn't metal anymore. It was black, endless, like walking on a shadow. Suddenly she saw herself, but younger, standing in front of her. You're not real, Mira whispered. The younger version smiled. Neither are you. Not anymore. Inside the mind of the Reaper, Mira was trapped. The Void Reaper had pulled her consciousness into its mental core, a deep ocean of memories, fears, and illusions. Project Ember's voice echoed faintly. Mira, we are trying to pull you out. Stay focused. It's using your own thoughts against you. The shadows began to take shape, visions from her past, her father, who died during a Mars colony collapse, her first spacewalk. Her worst nightmare, being alone in a burning escape pod, watching Earth fall apart. The Reaper whispered through every image. You are not strong. You are not ready. You will be one of us. Meanwhile, outside, Captain Rafe stood on the bridge. Of the EOS Spear, eyes locked on the tactical screen. The Reaper took the bait, said Cam, the weapons officer. But it's slowing down. It's not fooled for long, Rafe replied. How's Mira? Project Ember responded. She's alive but trapped inside the psychic core. We can't break her out without risking damage to her brain. Then we need to go in after her, Rafe said. That would expose more minds to the Reaper, Ember warned. I don't care, Rafe growled. She's not staying in there alone. Return of the Void. Reaper suddenly, alarms rang out. The decoy signal failed. The Reaper had stopped following the fake trail. Its attention turned back to the Zarelian fleet. But this time, it was moving faster, and it wasn't alone. Two smaller shadow forms emerged from the dark behind it, like offspring shaped from the same nightmare tech. Ember's voice cracked. It has begun replication. It is evolving. Send a message. To the Zarelians, Rafe ordered. They need to prepare for evacuation. Now! A desperate plan Artok received the warning. We're not ready, he said. Only 4 of our ships have working engines. Then launch those, Rafe replied over comms. Leave the others behind if you must. Artok shook his head. I won't leave my people. Then we buy you time, Rafe said. We'll face the Reaper again. Cam turned to him. We're not a battleship. 1 hit from that thing and we're gone. Rafe looked at her. Then we don't get hit. Inside the core, Mira's fight back. Inside the mental prison, Mira had stopped running. She remembered Ember's words. The Reaper is confused by new emotions, new thoughts, so she stopped fearing it. She stopped hiding, and she laughed. Not a fake laugh, a real one. A memory of joy. The day she graduated, the day her brother hugged her after. 10 years apart, the taste of ice cream on Earth, the smell of rain. The Reaper paused. Its shadows flickered. Mira stood tall. You don't control me, she said. I'm not afraid anymore. Suddenly, a white light broke through the darkness. Ember's voice returned. We found her! Pulling her out now! Back to reality, Mira gasped as she woke up. She was back in the memory chair. Her body was soaked in sweat. Rafe stood beside her. You okay? He asked. I think so, she whispered. She looked at the screen. The Reaper was now almost on top of the Zarelian fleet. Did it work? No, Rafe said, but we've got 1 shot left. The human weapon project Ember had been working on something else in secret, a frequency pulse designed using Mira's emotional memory data. It's a human mind weapon, Ember explained. Not physical, not nuclear, but psychological. What will it do? Cam asked. Send it something it cannot process. A flood of new emotions. It might break its focus, or blind it for a few minutes. That's all we need, Mira said. To get them out, Captain Rafe gave the go-ahead. Fire the pulse. The pulse, the Eosphere released the signal. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't light. It was a feeling. Across the battlefield, the Reaper slowed. Its 2 smaller shadows stopped moving. Then, they screamed. Not with sound, but with pain, with confusion. The stars around them flickered as if the Reaper's energy twisted in panic. The psychic pulse had worked. For now. The alien screamed. Not out of fear, but out of memory. Artok collapsed on the floor of the Eosphere's bridge. His 4 glowing eyes rolled back, and his body shook violently. Mira rushed to him. He's seizing. Ember scanned him instantly. It's not physical, it's mental. He's reliving something. Something the Reaper triggered. Mira held his hand. What is he seeing? Artok's voice trembled through his teeth. I see it. I remember. We made it worse. The hidden truth. Once Artok recovered, he called a private meeting with Mira, Captain Rafe, and Project Ember. I must show you something, he said. Something the Zarelian High Command buried long ago. He opened a hidden file from his ship's memory core. It was encrypted using old alien tech. Ember cracked it in seconds. What they saw changed everything. A black and white video. Dozens of Zarelian scientists gathered around a glowing chamber. Inside it was a child. But not Zarelian, not human, something between. They didn't build the Reaper, Mira whispered. They grew it. The living weapon. The truth was worse than expected. The Zarelians had discovered a small star collapsing in the ghost sector. Instead of avoiding it, they tried to control it, harness its gravity and energy. They used ancient alien DNA. Unknown. Origins. Combined it with quantum tech. The result, a living intelligence born inside artificial gravity. It was small at first, curious, innocent. They named it Project Godfire, but it grew too fast, too smart. It started reading minds. Then it started creating dreams. Eventually, it escaped. Why the Reaper hates minds. Captain Rafe stared at the screen. You tortured it, used it, then called it a monster. Artok nodded, slowly. We thought we could control it, use it to win our war. Instead, it learned pain. It learned betrayal. It turned that pain into power. And now, Mira said, it spreads that pain to everyone it touches. Ember added, that explains why it doesn't destroy ships right away. It feeds on memory, trauma, identity. The Reaper didn't kill its victims. It broke them from the inside. The Reaper evolves. Out in the dark, the Reaper's new humanoid form floated near the edge of the ghost sector. It stared at its hands, long and sharp like blades. It's glowing, chest pulsed with energy. Behind it, its two smaller shadows drifted like wings. Inside its core, human memories played like songs. Mira's childhood, Rafe's war flashbacks, even Nova's lost family. But the Reaper didn't understand them. It didn't want to destroy Earth. It wanted to be like Earth. That made it even more dangerous. Back on the fleet, trouble rises, while humans and Zarelians work together to repair. The final ships, tension grew. Some Zarelian warriors no longer trusted the humans. You brought the Reaper back to us, one said. Now it knows Earth. What if it follows you home? Mira stood before them. We didn't cause this, she said. But we won't run from it either. Another voice spoke from the crowd, Nova, the child. He stepped forward and said clearly, they didn't run from me when I was alone. They came back. Humans. Care. Silence. Then slowly, the warriors lowered their weapons. The ancient warning project Ember continued scanning Artok's old files. Then it found something new, a warning buried in Zarelian archives. It was a message from a long-dead alien, race known only as the Vahari. They had fought the Reaper long before it became what it is now. Their message was simple. The weapon you build will not stop at revenge. It will seek purpose. And when it does, it will look to become like its creators. Ember's voice was calm, but cold. If the Reaper learns identity, if it understands what it is, it will no longer need memories. It will create its own. A dangerous idea. Mira had a wild idea. What if we give it what it wants? Captain Rafe blinked. You want to talk to it? No. I want to show it something. A memory. It doesn't have. Something beautiful. Something pure. You mean like hope? Cam asked. Exactly. They began building a device called the Mind Mirror, a tech capsule that could send one person's deepest memory as a full psychic experience. The idea? Overload the Reaper with a human dream it could never generate on its own. Maybe it would stop. Maybe it would shatter. Or maybe it would become human enough to hesitate. Silence. Not dead silence. Thinking silence. The Void Reaper hovered in space, still, watching, listening. The Mind Mirror's signal continued to pulse, a soft glow carrying Mira's memory, a sunset on Earth, waves crashing, children's laughter. Then, something unbelievable happened. The Reaper stepped back, its sharp blade arms folded inward, its glowing chest dimmed, then glowed golden for just a second. Mira stood at the window of the Eos spear, heart pounding. It saw it. It saw my memory. Captain. Rafe whispered. What does that mean? Project Ember's voice answered quietly. It means the Reaper just felt something. What the Reaper did next, the Reaper didn't attack. It didn't move closer. Instead, it broadcasted something back. A pulse, not a weapon, not a virus. A message, one that didn't match any known language, but also didn't feel like a threat. It's trying to speak, Mira said. Ember translated the pulse slowly, piece by piece. The result? Just 3 words. I was alone. The ghost. Speaks Mira stepped forward. If it's alone, maybe we don't need to destroy it. Rafe looked cautious. You're saying it's not a threat? I'm saying it might not want to be anymore. The crew watched as the Reaper hovered silently. Its two smaller shadow forms floated beside it like silent guardians. Nova spoke up softly. It's like me. Lost. Artok disagreed. You forget what it's done. It wiped out thousands of ships, trapped mines, fed on suffering. And maybe that's all it ever knew, Mira said, because that's all we ever gave it. A council divided. The humans and Zarelians met in an emergency council aboard the lead command ship. Two sides formed. One group believed the Reaper was now listening and could be guided. The other believed it was manipulating them, pretending, to feel, to buy time. We cannot forget what it is, said Artok. It is still the galaxy's most dangerous weapon. But what if we can make it into something else? Mira asked. Rafe added, if we attack now, we lose everything. If we try to speak, we might find something no one expected. The council vote was tied, so the final choice fell to Project Ember. Ember's choice. The AI took exactly 3 seconds to decide. I choose to continue the experiment. The risk is high, but the reward is evolution. So the mind mirror signal was increased, this time with more human memories. A wedding, the sound of music, the joy of first discovery, the pain of loss, followed by healing. The Reaper responded again. Another signal. Not words this time. Images. A world made of fire. A cage of light. Screams. Then silence. It was showing them its own memory, the Reaper's origin, revealed. Through translated images, Mira and Ember pieced it together. The Reaper had been born inside a collapsing star, engineered by Zarelian. Science. It had no voice, no language, just pain, endless input. It saw war, heard screams, felt betrayal. Then, when it escaped, it searched for one thing: meaning. But all it ever found was fear. So it gave fear back. A new plan. The Bridge Mira had an idea. What if we send someone in, not to fight, but to connect? You want to go inside. That thing? Rafe asked. It knows me now. It listened. It didn't kill us when it had the chance. Project Ember developed a bridge, a psychic link that would allow Mira's mind to connect directly with the Reaper's core. But there was one problem. If the Reaper rejected her, her brain would collapse. I'll do it, Mira said. Rafe grabbed her arm. You're not going in alone. The link begins inside, a special chamber aboard the EOS sphere. Mira and Rafe connected to the psychic link. Nova sat nearby, holding Mira's hand. You're not alone, he whispered. The bridge activated. Everything turned white, then black. Then consciousness exploded. Inside the Reaper's mind, Mira and Rafe stood on a platform that wasn't real, floating in endless void. In front of them stood the Reaper's new form, taller, more human-like, but still terrifying. It did not speak. It did not move. But Mira took a step forward. I saw your memory, she said. Now see mine. She reached out. The Reaper hesitated, then extended one hand. Their fingers touched. Red light flashed across the control room. Mira and Captain Rafe were still inside the mind bridge, connected to the Reaper's consciousness. Suddenly, Ember's voice cut through. Warning! Unidentified fleet approaching at near light speed. Rafe opened his eyes. What? From where? Sector 9. Outside the Ghost Sector. 27 ships. Heavy weapons. No response to hails. Mira looked toward the Reaper's form inside the link. Its glowing eyes were watching too. Then, it turned away. Rafe frowned. What's it doing? Ember answered. It knows who's coming, and it's afraid. Arrival of the hunters, the new fleet exited warp space like thunder. Sleek, golden ships, sharp, clean, cold. Ember displayed the markings. Confirmed. Varn Dominion. High threat protocol. Known for annihilation-level judgment. They don't ask questions, Rafe muttered. They just burn everything down. One of the Varn ships opened a channel. A female voice spoke. Calm, emotionless. This is Commander Lara of the Varn Dominion. We detected your communication with Subject X9. You will stand down. We will destroy it. The galaxy's old war Artok explained quickly. The Varn were the first to warn us about building psychic weapons. Their science predicted what the Reaper could become. We ignored them. Mira frowned. So now they're back to clean up our mess. They see it as a disease, Ember added. Something that must be erased before it spreads. Nova looked frightened. Will they destroy all of us too? Mira gently answered. Only if we don't stop them. A stand between two giants, the Eos spear placed itself between the Reaper and the approaching fleet. Rafe opened a transmission. This creature is not what it used to be. We're in peaceful contact. It hasn't attacked in days. The Varn commanders. Voice came cold. You've been infected. You can't see it anymore. It mimics peace. It mimics pain. It is not alive. Stand down, or be erased with it. The Reaper's decision. The Reaper began to move, not to attack, but to leave. It backed away from the humans and Xerelians, drifting slowly into the deeper void. Project Ember reported, it's surrendering. It believes death is better than war. Mira's heart dropped. No, we can't let it give up. She opened the psychic link again. Inside, she faced the Reaper. You don't have to die. You're learning. You're changing. I bring war, it answered. Where I go, death follows. But now you have a choice. The Reaper looked up. Then, suddenly, it sent out a powerful signal to the Varn fleet, a message to the hunters. The Varn ships paused. Their shields flickered. Ember's voice came through again. The Reaper is not attacking. It is speaking to them. A direct message. One that bypassed machines. It sent them a memory, not of fear, but of Earth. Children, laughter, hope. Mira's memory, the same one it had been studying. It sent it to the Varn and waited. The Varn respond. For 10 long seconds. The Varn said nothing. Then Commander Lara responded. You taught it human emotion. Mira stepped forward on the comms. We didn't teach it. It learned it. On its own. Lara replied, voice now colder. That is worse. Suddenly, one of the Varn ships charged its main cannon. Fire in 10 seconds, Ember warned. Mira turned to Rafe. We have to stop them. Rafe looked at Nova, then at the Reaper, then nodded. Then we stand and fight. The battle begins. The first blast from the Varn fleet struck the Reaper, but bounced off its outer shell. It didn't attack back. The second shot came closer. The Eos spear fired its EMP net, not to harm, but to blind the Varn sensors. Then the Xerelian ships moved in, blocking the Reaper. Commander Lara gave a final warning. You defend a weapon. We will treat you as enemies. And with that, the battle began. The Void Reaper stood still. Behind it, a glowing white rift swirled in space, a gate it had created using its own energy, a way out, a way to disappear forever. But it didn't enter. Instead, it turned toward the Varn Dominion, fleet, and it spoke one word into every ship, every mind, every system: protect. Then with a scream of light, the Reaper launched itself forward, not as a monster, but as a shield. The war had begun. The Varn Strike Commander Lara was unmoved. Fire all ships, full burn, no survivors. Golden Varn cruisers closed in, forming a massive arc. Their beams lit up the void, smashing through asteroids, slicing small drones apart. But when their weapons hit the Reaper, nothing happened. It absorbed the energy, glowing brighter each time. Rafe watched from the EO spear. "It's feeding off their attacks," Ember confirmed. "The Reaper's energy form is changing. It's learning how to turn damage into power." "But it's still not fighting back," Mira whispered. "Why?" The message, as the Reaper held the line, Mira connected to its mind again through the psychic link. Inside the dark dream space, she found the Reaper standing in a glowing field of stars. It turned to her. "I saw your world. I saw what peace could look like." Mira nodded. "Then you don't need to die. Or kill. But they won't stop. They don't want me to change. They want me to disappear." Suddenly, an explosion rocked the link. Mira snapped back to reality. Alarms blaring. Ember shouted, "One of the Zarelian cruisers is gone! Varn beam strike!" Zarelians fight back Artok sent a fleet-wide command. "We fight together with the humans. With the Reaper." The Zarelian Armada opened fire, catching the Varn off guard. For the first time in 1,000 years, the scattered alien races of the Ghost Sector stood as one. But the Varn were masters of precision war. Their battleships tore through the defenders ship by ship. Nova grabbed Mira's hand. "They'll kill it. They'll kill all of us." She looked into his eyes. "Not if we stop this. A different way." Project Ember's secret in the chaos. Ember called Mira and Rafe to the command deck. "I have one last option," it said. "A deep echo pulse, a signal that can reach into the minds of every pilot in the Varn fleet." "What would it do?" Rafe asked. "Not harm, not control, just show them." "Show them what?" Mira asked. "Everything. The Reaper's change. Its memories, its fear, your memories, hope. But it would overload your system," Rafe said. Ember paused. "Yes, I will burn out, but it might end the war." The echo. Pulse. The humans and Zarelians redirected all energy to Project Ember. They only had one shot. Mira placed her hand on the pulse panel. Her memories flowed into the system. Her mother's voice, the smell of rain, Nova's laugh, the Reapers. First word, peace. Ember took it all in. Signal ready. Broadcasting in 3, the Varn ships aligned. 2, they powered their final strike. 1, echo pulse sent. The minds of the Varn one by one, the Varn pilots froze, eyes wide, breathing changed. They weren't seeing enemies anymore. They were seeing memories. The Reaper as a childlike being in a lab, humans risking their lives to protect it. A dream of unity, not war. Commander Lara clutched her chair, shaking. This can't be real. But it was. She looked at her crew and gave a new command. "Stand down. The battlefield goes silent across the stars." All weapons stopped. No beams, no war, just silence. The Reaper floated in space, glowing soft white. Its gate behind it still open. Nova whispered, "It's over." Rafe looked at Ember's console. "Ember?" No reply. The screen flickered once. "Final action complete. Peace is possible. Goodbye." The lights dimmed. Project Ember was gone. 1 week after the Reaper disappeared. The stars were quiet again. The Varn fleet hovered in the outer Ghost Sector, not attacking, not speaking. Captain Rafe and Mira stood on the bridge of the Eos Spear, watching the peace hold. Nova, now wearing a proper flight suit, floated nearby in zero gravity. Mira whispered, "He's really gone." Rafe nodded. The Reaper left, but not in anger, in choice. Project Ember was gone too. Its console still powered, but no voice, no thoughts, just one final message, left blinking in soft blue text. "If you choose peace, then I have done enough." The Varn Decision Commander Lyra requested a final meeting. Her ship docked beside the Eos Spear, golden armor shining like the sun. She entered without guards, unarmed. "I have seen enough," she said. "Do you still believe the Reaper is a threat?" Mira asked. Lyra stared out the window. "I believe it could become anything, but now it chose to become something else." Rafe folded his arms. "So, what happens next?" Lyra looked at him with a calm expression. "We leave, and we warn others. Not all weapons stay weapons. Some learn to heal. A farewell and a promise. The Zarelian fleet, what remained of it, began preparing for a journey home. Slowly, carefully. Their people once broken had seen a second chance. Nova hugged Mira tightly. "Will you come with us?" he asked. She smiled sadly. "Not yet. I want to see Earth again. Feel wind, taste real food." Nova grinned. "I want to try pizza." Rafe laughed. "You'll love it." They exchanged comm codes. Friends for life. And just like that, the alien ships vanished into hyperspace. Earth receives the signal back on Earth. Silence broke as a deep space relay picked up the final logs from the Eos Spear. Governments watched. Scientists debated. Some feared the Reaper would return, but others hoped it would. Mira's final voice message played across all human colonies. "We met something powerful, something born from fear. But when we gave it a memory of peace, it listened. The galaxy isn't safe, but maybe it doesn't have to stay broken." A surprise in the Sky 3. Months later, Mira stood in a field on Mars. Red dust blew gently across the rocks. She looked up at the sky just as a faint streak of light passed across the stars. Not a ship, not a comet, just a pulse of golden white. Light, and then her data pad vibrated. A message appeared. "Hello, I saw the ocean again. Thank you." R. Her eyes filled with tears. He was still out there, watching, learning, protecting.